I'm sure you remember our friend Bill Connolly from ESPN, and what he did over the weekend, or the 4th of July holiday, I guess it was, is he took the 16 teams that we know are going to be in the SEC in the near future, and he took the 16 teams that we know are going to be in the Big Ten in the near future, and he lined them up to see who would have the advantage and who wouldn't. Where do you think the Dogs wound up in the matchups of Big Ten and SEC teams? Let's go through it real quick. It's kind of interesting. I'm going to go backwards, but Bill points out that the SEC in this is the last 25 years. Bill points out that the SEC still holds an advantage in a bulk of these games. Going backwards, it was Vandy Rutgers, with Vanderbilt having a better chance to win that game. Kentucky, Indiana. Kentucky would be the better team in that one. Mississippi State ranked 50th in the last 25 years over Illinois. South Carolina, the Gamecocks, coming at 13th best in the SEC, 38th best overall against Northwestern. Ole Miss against Maryland at 12th best. Mississippi against Minnesota. Arkansas, Purdue. A&M, UCLA. It's hard with all of the talk to realize that Texas A&M has not had the kind of past few decades that people think they have. It's not been great. That's why they are checking in at ninth best in the SEC and not fourth best. So I think the future of Texas A&M could be pretty good, but they got to do it on the field. Texas A&M would play UCLA. Tennessee against Michigan State, seventh best. Auburn against Iowa. These are now where everybody's in the top 25 now. Sixth best, Texas against Nebraska. LSU and Penn State for the fifth best in both leagues. The Gators at fourth best in the SEC over the last 25 years. That includes 2 national championships against Wisconsin. Third best, Georgia against Michigan. Those two have had the third best of the 32 teams now going forward. Georgia, fourth best overall the last 25 years, according to what Bill has to say. And Michigan, 11th best. Second best, Oklahoma, by about a point over Georgia. Third best overall. And that is, they would play USC. And then the top 2 would be Ohio State and Alabama. What we could see in the future of college sports is what we just saw right there, which is 2 16-team schools, conferences combining to form their own national championship. That is not out of the realm of possibility. I think it is not probable, but it is not out of the realm of possibility. Make sure you're taking advantage of our offer. We've got DAWGSTRUCTION, our 80-page commemorative edition of Georgia's national championship. Every single page dedicated to the Dogs. When you buy DAWGSTRUCTION, you get our 2022 preview for free. It comes in the packaging. These have already been sent out. Every single page of this is dedicated to Georgia. The in-laws were around last night. My brother-in-law had an athlon. It's really thick. It has really in-depth stuff on Boise State and Washington State and Georgia State. You don't care about that. You care about Georgia. Every single page of this is about the Dogs. You can pick up all of these down below with the links. DAWGSTRUCTION is down below, as well as the season preview. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION, you get the season preview for free. If you're in Athens, you can go to Red Zone on Clayton Street. Mindy and Scott will love to help you and see you grab one of these. I am not printing any more magazines, so get it now. I don't think that the Big Ten and SEC are headed to a separation from the NCAA. But I think in the grand scheme of things for the Dogs, I think it might be better than being in the NCAA for a few different reasons. First of all, the SEC would control its media rights deals in perpetuity, and they would have the capability of getting all of the money from the college football playoff, or whatever this new thing would be called, the new college basketball playoff. You don't have to be in the NCAA if you don't want to, if you're these schools. The thing that folks misread, don't understand, is that the NCAA is just the schools themselves anyway. Okay, Coker, where I went to school, it's an NCAA institution. It's not an NAIA institution. It applied, it was accepted decades ago, whenever that was, and it's a selling point. Georgia doesn't have that problem. Georgia's a member of the SEC, the NCAA. It can leave. Ohio State can leave. Can Wofford? No. I mean, it doesn't make sense for Wofford. They benefit from the huge revenue from the NCAA tournament. So the power of the NCAA is predicated on the basketball tournament. Well, these schools that I read off all 32 teams that'll be in the Big Ten and the SEC in the near future. They um, they benefit from that, but they're making $100 million in the near future. SEC schools will make north of, um, well, I don't want to overestimate it, north of $70 million. It could be closer to $80 million. That's before Texas and Oklahoma come in. But they're going to make that kind of revenue just from conference distributions. Georgia's budget right now is $180 million for athletics. In other words, half of its revenue comes from from its membership in the SEC. Now, some of that is passed through money from the NCAA. But my point is that when half of your budget comes from your league and the other half comes from yourself, you can do whatever you want on the NCAA side of things. It's not something you got to really worry about. So if what Bill is just throwing out, he wasn't even suggesting that that's going to happen. But if it does happen in the future, you would see a college football playoff that would involve probably the top four teams of both conferences, um, and those eight teams would play the four-game New Year's Six traditional thing that we have. Probably there would be two games on New Year's, two games New Year's Eve, and then you would have the semifinals somewhere else. They don't have to be at the bowls, and then you would have the national championship probably closer to January 20th, perhaps on a Sunday night, actually on a Saturday night rather than a Sunday night. The broadcast partners would want to integrate this into their playoff situation. Say what you'd like about the NFL, it gets huge numbers, and so does the college football playoff national championship game. Alabama and Georgia, when they played, had the second largest, not this past one, the 2017 game, had the second largest college football playoff uh, viewership of all time. And it's not that far behind the two most watched games of all time, which was the first college football playoff, which is Oregon and Florida State. Oregon and Florida State. Who was it? Oregon and Ohio State, excuse me. And then, of course, the USC Ohio State national championship game in 2005 at the, I misspoke there, Texas and USC at the Rose Bowl in 2005. That was the most watched college football game ever at 35 million people. 35 million people is nothing to sneeze at. So this is all predicated on the the distribution of college football games through television and through digital. And everyone started understanding that in 2009 when the SEC started restricting rights and to media outlets. Everyone understood this when the SEC expanded. Everyone understood this when the SEC did the SEC network. Y'all, this is coming. I, I don't know who will get Miami or Clemson. They will leave the ACC. The question is, how long will it take? I don't know who will get North Carolina or, say, Florida State. they will leave the ACC. The ACC is dying. The ACC is on its deathbed. I think North Carolina will determine where they're going, and some other schools may follow. But everyone right now is holding up for Notre Dame to see what they're going to do. If Notre Dame does not go moving forward to a league, then we could be on pause for a little bit here. That would give the Clemsons of the world a chance to recalibrate, kind of get 15 years further into this 15-year contract. If Notre Dame leaves, you're going to see, there leaves the ACC as a member and joins the SEC or the Big Ten, or joins the ACC in football. You're going to see a real rush of legal action. But one way or the other, this is going to cost those ACC schools hundreds of millions of dollars combined, and it's going to be a messy thing. But we will be getting to a college football playoff that's controlled by the SEC and Big Ten soon enough.